Mic'd up.
Rovner on the Mic'd Up platform. I'm AJ Rovner, joined alongside Steve Shanamanico. We take our attention from the ice for the past 6 months. We will now move to the diamond till the Rangers hit the ice again for training camp in September-ish. And it's a little bit better than it would have been for hockey. Yankees and Mets both in first place. Mets currently own the best record in baseball. 18-7. They've won 7 in a row. They lead the MLB with, I believe, second in the MLB with a plus 36 run differential. They're 12-1 at home. I mean, they've certainly been the greatest surprise of the season to this point. And the Yankees, 15-10, as I just said, first place. 7-3 in their last 10. So as I said in the little caption, stuff every show, New York baseball is off to a solid start. Steve, tell me what your opening thoughts are about both clubs, and then we'll go into how it's been so far.
Well, overall, what a great time to be a sports fan, especially in the New York area. We had football draft opening up last night. You guys, you mentioned both New York baseball teams sitting in first place. You got playoff hockey, although the Islanders aren't participating this year. Still exciting stuff. You got the Kentucky Derby coming up, the Knicks yesterday. So just a great time. Keep your eyes and ears glued to the TV 24/7. Yeah, Mets and Yanks both in first. Yanks, both have been fairly inconsistent. And when I say that, the Mets are just unbelievable the way they find ways to win games. Offense hasn't gotten tuned up yet, and look out for the rest of the league once they start heating up. I mean, guys like Vientos, Soto, Lindor starting low. He's over 300, I think. They've been carried by timely hitting and Polar Bear Pete, who's been an animal. So if you're a Met fan, you've got nothing to be displeased about. The pitching's been nothing short of unbelievable. The starters, anyway, bullpens had a couple of shaky outings, but they just seem to find ways to win games. Yankees, a lot of guys not hitting on the team. Judge has been carrying them. I don't know why anyone would pitch to the guy, but getting inconsistent starting pitching. But that's why they got the 15 wins and 10 losses. Rodon, you don't know what you're going to get from him when he's on. He's really good. But overall, pretty good start for both New York area teams.
So, since we missed the first week of action because we were still doing hockey, we'll go over the most recent stretch through the last week. The Yankees, as the Mets were home, they won 7 in a row. The Yankees took a trip to their spring training complex. They went to Tampa Bay for a 4-game set, in which they took 3. And then they went to Cleveland and salvaged the game against the Guardians on Wednesday. So 4-3 road trip. I always say that if you go over 500 if you stay 500 on the road, you're over 500 at home. You'll be in good shape in October. So, as you said, Rodon did have 2 wins on this road trip. One Friday the 18th in Tampa, one Wednesday against Cleveland. Judge just continues to rake. Talk to me a little bit about both of these series.
Yeah, they, Cleveland is a solid team, tough team. Ran into some good pitching there. Didn't get the timely hitting. They had a tying run at the plate in the both losses in the ninth inning. Couldn't come up with a big hit. Then Rodon pitched the gem in the 5-1 win on Wednesday to get him, salvage him at least one game out of it. Tampa Bay, same thing. Took 3 out of 4. The one loss was a horrific 8-4 lead in the ninth. Williams came in, error, hit, walk, and everything unfolded on him. Tied the game in the bottom of the ninth. Yankees had first and third, no out in the 10th. Couldn't get a run across, and then a 2-run home had doomed them in that game. But winning 3 out of 4 is great. They came back the following afternoon. Fried pitched an awesome game, 4-0 win. So they've been able to bounce back, which is a good sign of any team. But that was a horrible, horrible loss, up 8-4 in the bottom of the ninth inning. But he's had his trouble so far, as has Diaz. Inconsistency. I know they've been bringing these guys in certain situations that aren't save situations just to get them some work because of the way games have been working out for them. And just one of those things, closers over the years haven't fared well in non-save situations, and Williams and Diaz have both experienced that this year. But overall, 15-10 start. You have Jism and Volpe and Bellinger all hitting under 200, which is hard
Yep.
to believe. Volpe got off to a decent start, struck out 4 times the other day and 0 for 5.
Hasn't played a sharp field either.
Yeah, I don't know. He started off well, hitting the ball at all fields. I don't know if he's swinging too hard. He's over anxious, but you got to get the guy on track. He's got to be at least a 265 hitter. He's got speed. He is a good fielder. He's a heady player, but you got to at least hit 265 for me if you Volpe hit 15 to 18 homers, steal 35 bases. Otherwise, you know, not doing the job that you're there for.
And then I do think it's worth noting about Diaz, and then I'll go into this Mets' most recent homestand. Then we'll kind of just shift our attention maybe to no. Well, I was thinking maybe we take a little detour going to the NFL draft, and then we will continue on with the next stretch. It's nice to do the Mets and Yankees because we'll do the Mets' most recent road trip because they're obviously on the road because the Yanks come home, so it makes it easy to do that. But going back to the Diaz point, listen, he's done everything he's been asked, though, right? He's got a 4.91 ERA, but he's 6 for 6 in saves. He's 1-0 in record, so he hasn't blown any saves, but certainly hasn't been his sharpest, to say the least. To talk about the Mets for a little bit, best home start in franchise history. This is a team that's been around since 1962. They played a solid St. Louis team at the time, playing pretty good ball. Swept that series, outscored them 19-9 in the process, and then just resilient win after resilient win against Philadelphia. The first St. Louis game, run through them pretty quick. I was fortunate enough to be at 6 of the 7. The Thursday night against St. Louis, Vientos hit his first homer off the right field foul pole. No runs after the third inning. Griffin Canning was great at 8 strikeouts, 6 strong innings. What a story he is. Had the worst ERA in Major League Baseball last year and is now being a part of the Mets rotation and a key part to say the least. The next night we come back. Brazo Bond blows the save in the top of the ninth, only for Lindor to hit a 401-foot blast to give the Mets a 2-0 series advantage. Third game of this homestand. I mean, it's just incredible. They keep finding ways. This time they pitch a shutout. Kodai Senga throws was it 5 2/3? Yeah, 5 2/3 fabulous innings. Alonso hit a ball that hasn't landed yet. 3-0 win. Nice and easy game there. And then St. Louis on Sunday. I mean, just Soto had a big double in the bottom of the 8th inning to make that game a little bit more widespread. It was 5-3. They really opened it up. And then really the thought process going into that was let's have the Mets face a real opponent. I could see that. They faced Miami, well, they're not Sacramento, just Miami, the Athletics, Minnesota, and St. Louis before. I think the Mets silenced those critics. 5-4 win, 3 runs in the 7th inning. Diaz held the fort. Lindor had 2 homers. Guy's unbelievable. Philadelphia, once again on Saturday. This was a game where Luis Torrens had a huge hit in the bottom of the 7th inning to blow that one open. And then I think the best home game of the year, Wednesday, Soto, huge throw from right field in the 8th inning. Resilient, giving up a run in the top half of the 10th and winding up winning the game in the bottom half. So really fun time to be a fan, 18-7. I know that was a little long going game by game, but I watch every game. But anyways, did you watch the draft, Stevie boy?
Going back and forth between that, the Knicks, the hockey playoffs. Yeah, I caught a lot of the picks. Yeah.
All right, so I thought we'd do a little bit of a detour. I'll talk about the Knicks. You can give me a little bit of hockey, go in between with the draft, and then we'll preview the next half of next half of games for the Yanks and Mets. So we'll start off with the NFL draft. We'll talk specifically about the Giants and the Jets did. New York Giants take my boy at number 3 overall, Abdul Carter. Watch this guy intensely since his freshman year. I don't know if many people know it's outside of Penn State, but he had the team's biggest honor on defense, wore the number 11, which was LeVar Arrington, then Micah Parsons, then he gets it granted. Really a nice linebacker tradition they hold there. LeVar Arrington's kid actually has it now, so he came over as a freshman, but dynamic guy, could play all sides of the field, edge, linebacker. And then, of course, the big trade of moving back into the first round to take Jackson Dart, rookie from Ole Miss. Giants have pretty good luck with drafting quarterbacks out of Ole Miss, trading for quarterbacks from Ole Miss. If you know Eli Manning, 2-time Super Bowl champion. But listen, the whole key drop going back into the first round was to get that 50-year option. But Steve, you could talk to me about that. I've been talking a ton. Talk to me about the Jets and the draft as a whole, and then give me a little bit of a hockey recap.
Yeah, I mean, there weren't too many surprises from the draft. As if you follow yesterday, there was the big trade early with the team stepping up. Seeing what suits them better as far as the players that were available. I'm not, I've been speaking to fans of both the Jets and Giants. I think they're both pretty happy and satisfied with the way things went. Obviously, looking to improve on dismal seasons and try and plan for a path forward with consistency and building winning franchise. So I think they've addressed some of the issues. Obviously, in a round or two of drafting, when you have such horrible seasons, you're not going to have a team of 11 guys on both sides of the ball. You're not going to fix all your problems just by one or two guys that you're selecting. But overall, I think it was a pretty good starting draft for both teams.
And then, before I let you go into hockey, the one surprise to me, of course, is Shedeur Sanders. Pretty much slam dunk. I mean, he was in serious conversations a few months ago to be the number 1 overall pick in this draft, and Cam Ward ran away with it with Tennessee. But there were so many other teams you really thought that were going to select the rookie out of Colorado, but today will be his day, the second round, and we'll see where he ultimately ends up. I'm going to guess New Orleans, but time will tell. And then, Steve, obviously it's odd for us not to have our Rangers not in it. Certainly a shame. And there is a little bit of Rangers news I want to talk about with you that I have written down here after, but I'll run through the series real quick. You're the hockey guy over me, at least non-Rangers to that extent. Winnipeg up 2-1 on St. Louis. St. Louis dominated last night. Dallas has home ice advantage still. They're up 2-1 in Colorado. That game's tomorrow. Look at the Wild. Home ice in great shape against the number 1 seeded Knights. Edmonton in trouble. It seems like they are every year, but McDavid finds a way to claw back into series. They're down 2-0, needing to take both most likely in Edmonton. Maple Leafs pretty much wrapped it up 3-0 overtime winner yesterday. Bobrovsky and Florida, home ice advantage. They're up 2-0. They're in really good shape. Montreal has to do the same. They got to win 2 at home to really have a shot. And New Jersey, same drill. They got to really win 2 tonight. 2 at home to have a shot. So a lot of 2-0s, right? There's only 5. The East has nobody with a win. And the West really has, what do we got? 1 upset. We'd have 1 upset right now. So talk to me a little bit. 2 upsets. Yeah, 1 upset. Just the Wild over the Knights right now. So, Steve, talk to me about some NHL hockey.
Yeah, quickly go over a few of these things. The Canadians have played some strong hockey against the Caps. They just haven't been able to come up with that big goal. Basically, 1 overtime game. The other game was an empty netter. Thompson made some great saves down the stretch. Canadians missed on last ditch backhand that just went a few inches wide. But it's been a good series. But Canadians got to win 4 out of 5. Going to be a tough task against a solid Capital team. Stars Avalanche, good series. Robertson's been out there, one of the top guys. Been solid. Stars won 2 in overtime. Avalanche have the star power. Don't know if they have the grittiness or the goaltending to take them past the solid Stars team. We'll see what happens. They're down 2-1. Edmonton probably had the worst matchup possible to play the LA Kings. Big, strong, fast. All three parts of the rink, they played well. I don't think McDavid's even going to be able to pull off a miracle against the Kings. I think they're done. What do we got next? Panthers look real strong. I mean, I had the Lightning possibly upsetting them. Lightning are one of the strongest teams in the league, scoring, size, checking, secondary guys. Sorelli, Hagel scored 38. I'm calling him a secondary guy because when you have Gensel, Point, and Kucherov, Hagel becomes a secondary guy. But they're having trouble penetrating the Panthers' solid D. Got shut out yesterday. So they're going to have a tough time, too, going to Florida. Must-win game. Matthew Tkachuk's back. It's been great, of course. Maple Leaf Center has been a weird series. Maple Leafs have taken 3 of them, but they haven't outplayed them by any means. 2 overtime wins, but final score is all that matters. So they're in the driver's seat for sure. The guy comes back. If
Great.
there's a team in the league where one guy is that much of a difference maker, he's the guy. They couldn't score without him. Zuccarello's a nice player, Boldy, but that guy's got 7 points in 3 games against one of the best teams in the league, one of the best defenses in the league, with one of the better goalies in the league, statistic-wise. Anyway, if you don't want to put him in that category, I have no problem with that. But Golden Knights are a great team. I'm not counting them out. Down 2-1, but man, Kiprasov, does he ever make that team go? 7 points in 3 games so far. And the Blues have played 3 solid games. They lost 2 close ones in Winnipeg. Came out yesterday. I watched the first 2 periods. They were all over Winnipeg, out shooting them, hitting them. A lot of chippiness in the game. Bennington was fine. They beat the best goaltender. I know he got pulled, but they scored 7 goals. Ex-Ranger Pavel Buchnevich, 4 points, including the hat trick. God bless the guy. Nice trade. Rangers once again. So been great playoff hockey. And like I said at the on the onset, great time to be a sports fan. Playoffs, got the Derby coming up. We just had the Masters. Just a lot of fun stuff going on.
No doubt. And then, of course, the big Rangers news since we were last on, Peter Laviolette has been relieved of his duties after 2 years behind the bench for the Blue Shirts. And then also Chris Jury with an extension, now really having the reins of this franchise for, I mean, you'd have to think at least a half of the next decade, if not more. Let's go back now to the MLB. We'll go series by
Hey,
series.
before we go there, what were your thoughts on the Drury signing? I had a lot of feedback on both sides that it wasn't his fault the way things spiraled downward, and other guys were saying, "How can you re-sign this guy? You're out of your mind." So there were arguments on both sides.
I mean, I think that it's just so tough to bring somebody back after just the back and forth of just not having consistency, right? I mean, he's fired 3 head coaches, so there's not really any consistency there. You have a big time season, you fall short, you hire a head coach, you have a big time season, you fall short, you fire the head coach. So it's kind of just this consistent inconsistency. I mean, I know I'm putting those words together, so I think it's hard to want somebody back that has given that. Not all is on him, but I guess time will tell, right? How about you, Steve?
Yeah, no, I'm not blaming him for everything, but he's the man in charge. Paying so far so good, and he's a great guy to have. He brings a lot to the game besides his offensive abilities. He's got experience, leadership abilities, but it's just been a fiasco this year after last year, and you know I think he got the benefit of the doubt, is putting it mildly, especially with a 3-year deal. But listen, I'm rooting for him. I hope he does some great things and brings back a winning tradition to MSG.
Now we'll turn our attention to the diamond as the Mets and Yankees are both back in action tonight after having the normal Thursday off, even though the Mets have a stretch of playing, I believe, like 13 in a row. So it will be Toronto at home for three. 7:05, 105, 135 at the stadium. Carlos Carrasco goes tonight for the Yanks. He's 2-1 with a 6.53 ERA. Jose Barrios 1-1, 5.02 ERA. He's really not panned out since coming over from Minnesota. Max Fried, Cy Young numbers right now 4-0, 142, 101 whip. He will get the ball for the Saturday matinee. Kevin Gausman, really strong. Had that big year for the Giants. Has never looked back. 2-2, 3.16 ERA. And then in the series finale, Clark Schmidt, who just made his debut, didn't go too good. 0-1, 7.45 ERA. And he will face off against Chris Bassett, who is off to the best start of his major league career in his age 36 season. 2-1, 1.88 ERA. Just talk about a little bit of the Blue Jays on the offensive side of things. Re-signing Vladimir Guerrero Jr., he will be a Blue Jay for life. Grew up in Canada, so this is really all he's known. He's banged 277. Only one homer, though. George Springer banged 333. Bo Bichette banged 296. He's off to a nice start. Not a lot of power from this team yet, Steve. Leading home run getter is Andres Jimenez with 3. The most he's ever hit in a season is 17. So certainly the pop hasn't been there yet for the Jays. And then on the pitching back half, their closer right now is Jeff Hoffman coming over from the Phillies. He has a 146 ERA. So always important divisional series no matter what time of the year. Give me a little bit about Toronto, Steve.
Yeah, loses a 5 straight. Mets did the Yankees a favor, swept them early in the year, 3-game series, right in the middle of the pack. 12-13, only 3 games behind the Yankees right now. Um, you know, like you mentioned, they used to be known for their long ball, but doesn't seem to be there anymore this year. I'm just checking out the Yankees again, looking at 4 of their starters, 4 of their regular players are hitting under 200 this deep into the season. I'm saying this deep, end of April. Uh, Being led by Judge and Goldschmidt. And let's not forget Trent Grisham. 6 homers, 13 ribbies, hitting 320, known for his glove. But man, the guy's stepped in. He's played 20 out of the 25 games, and he's been a godsend so far. So if he could keep up any semblance of that, 280 out of him with the way he plays and with his speed and everything. Wells 181, Bellinger, we spoke about him, just hasn't gotten going. Volpe, same thing, and Jazz Chisholm 7 homers, but 165 average. So I don't know why anyone's throwing the ball to Judge, but keep throwing them fastballs.
And then we will turn our attention to the New York Mets. They'll have a 4-game set in Washington. We're also going to do the Yankees set after this. But the Mets will go Senga, Holmes, McGill, Canning, all with very respectable numbers. Senga 3-1, 0.79 ERA. Holmes 2-1, 3.16. It's just crazy. McGill 3-2, 109. Canning 3-1, 312. I mean, these are all could be all-star ERAs. 2 of them are, it's crazy, man. I've never seen anything like this in my fans' existence. Jake Irvin will go today or tonight, 2-1, 368. They'll face Brad Ward tomorrow. Brad does not have a win in his major league career. He'll make his 4th ever appearance. Mitchell Parker, off to a nice start. 3-1, 139 ERA. And then it'll be Trevor Williams, 1-2 at the 5.11 ERA to wrap it up on Monday afternoon. Weird series. There's not even a holiday on April 28th. Just very odd to wrap up a series on a Monday at 4:05. But to talk about Washington, they're going to be good. Just maybe not this year, but they are going to be good. They have promised. They're very young. James Wood's going to be really good in this league. Has the same kind of stature as a Judge. A really tall outfielder. He has 8 homers, 18 RBIs. Nathaniel Lau, 4 homers, 19 RBIs. Looking at average, Keibert Ruiz, their catcher, been 321. This team has some young talent. Josh Bell, who I feel is there to start every year and then gets traded. He's got 12 RBIs. Pitching wise, Kyle Finnegan's secretly one of the best closers in baseball. I mean, it's every year. It's every year. He has 9 saves, a 169 ERA, a 141 whip. I mean, he's been on Washington forever and on a bad team just continues to contribute. He's got 97 ERA. He's never had a season with higher than a 376 ERA. So this, with all the teams that they played, it'd be always nice to take 3 out of 4, but time will tell. Turning our attention now back to the Bronx, the Yankees wrap up their homestand facing the. No, sorry, I forgot. It's a 3-game, and then the Mets come home for Arizona. Sorry about that. The Yanks will go to Baltimore, who's been the biggest surprise in the wrong way, I'd say. Not off to a good start. Dead last in the American League East, 10-14. Yankees are going to line up Warren, Rodon, and Carrasco for that series. Will Warren, 1-0, 4.79 ERA. Rodon, 3-3, 3.5, as inconsistent as there is. Baltimore will throw out Tomoyuki Sugano, 2-1, 3.54, and then Cade Povich, 1-2, 5.04. Do not know who's pitching that Wednesday, 6:35 start. Baltimore, young talent, but not producing the way they'd want to. Cedric Mullins has 6 homers. Rushman batting 205. Gunnar Henderson 203. Mountcastle 230. Bjorkstrand 226. Gunnar Henderson 203. Steve, it feels like it's only a matter of time, but that matter of time hasn't happened yet. Talk to me a little bit about Baltimore.
Yeah, we talked about some of the Met and Yankee guys who haven't gotten close to swinging bats. You just mentioned a bunch of guys on Baltimore. Last place, 10-14. Not a horrific start, but certainly not what anyone expected. 5-8. Yeah, I mean they got the bats. They have a good team. They proved it last year. Hopefully they don't get hot now. They wait a little while, but I expect them to be kind of in the thick of things once the season gets going in July. I think they'll turn it around. As far as the Mets, you mentioned Washington, much improved team. Them in Miami, they used to, the Mets would play them 18, 19 times a year. They'd be doormats for them. They'd be all over them. But much improved hitting and pitching wise. So the Mets got to play good ball. They're not going to lay down for them. I mean, 11-14. Miami's 11-13. This time of year, you expect them to have 6 or 7 wins the way things have been in the past. So much improved, making the NL East a little bit tighter. I mean, watching the Braves in last place, I don't think that's going to last the whole season. So Mets can't take Washington lightly, 4-game series.
And then we will move our attention to the final series that we will cover on this week's report. The Mets will come back home to face the Arizona Diamondbacks. Diamondbacks this year are 14-11. That's good for 4th in the NL West. Steve, I'll let you chime in after. I mean, Corbin Carroll last year was supposed to be an MVP pick. Really picked up at the end of last year, and now he's playing like that MVP pick. And everyone thought last year. 9 homers, 23 RBIs, 5 steals, 321 average, 8 doubles, a triple. Josh Naylor's been great coming over from Cleveland. He's been 323. Eugenio Suarez, 6 homers, 15 RBIs. They're looking good there. Pitching wise, of course, Corbin Burns, that big acquisition from Baltimore. Justin Martinez is one of the most underrated closers in baseball. I mean, even though Puck's got the lion's share, but Martinez hasn't given up a run yet this year. And then you look at the upcoming pitching matchups. It looks as though it'll be Rodriguez versus Peterson, a couple southpaws, Burns versus Senga. Wow, that's a great matchup, Burns versus Senga on Wednesday. And then Thursday will be Zach Gallen against Clay Holmes. Another enticing matchup. So three nice pitching matchups, City Field, a little bit under a week from today. So Steve, talk to me a little bit about Arizona and then some lasting thoughts, and we'll wrap it up and be back next week.
Well, Arizona has the misfortune of being in the best division in baseball right now.
Point.
Giants,
Great point.
Dodgers. So at 14-11, they're sitting in fourth place, only 3 games back. But yeah, they're a solid team, strong team, like you mentioned. Good offense, good pitching. But they're up against 3 hot teams, and I mean, everyone predicted the Dodgers to be up there, but I don't think they thought San Diego or the Giants would be playing at a well over 600 clip right now. So yeah, that'll be a good test for the Mets. But the Mets just won 7 straight against 2 good teams, so they get their pitching. They'll win a lot more games. The Mets.
So let's talk about now. I had this written down to end the show. Biggest surprise for the Yankees so far? Biggest disappointment? I would assume yours is going to be Grisham and one of the hitters that are struggling. And then I'll give my answer for the Mets.
Yeah, Grisham easily is the biggest surprise on the positive side. Has not only has he is his numbers there, but he's had some really big hits, some clutch hits, and clutch situations. Bellinger, probably out of all the guys, I thought he was a nice signing. I thought, not that he's a pull hitter, but I just thought the Yankee Stadium dimensions would help him out, and he just hasn't been able to get it on track yet. So it's early. Judge has been a notoriously slow starter, and he's tearing the cover off the ball. So hopefully Bellinger wakes up a little bit. Could only help Judge's situation out at the plate. But yeah, he's definitely been the most disappointing for me and so far.
And then, of course, the two big acquisitions coming back for today. Jeff McNeil, Francisco Alvarez should both be in the lineup for New York this evening. But to answer the question for me, I mean, the biggest surprise I saw on the offensive side, just the amount of average Pete Alonso is hitting for. I've never seen this from him. I mean, he has 11 doubles, 6 homers, 26 RBIs. I mean, his walk to strikeout ratio is incredible for him, 14 to 15. I mean, this is just, you can't even put these numbers up in a video game. Truly incredible. I would give the biggest disappointment to Soto, but with his on base percentage and his offensive play, he's still second on the team in runs. My biggest disappointment right now is going to go to Mark Vientos. I think the amount of expectation he had coming into the year was so much after what he did in the playoffs. Ben 175, 267, not too good, but the other surprise has to be how good this Mets pitching staff is. I mean, if I read you these 4 names, that's not Kodai Senga, Peterson, Canning, Holmes, McGill. I mean, it doesn't seem like too much on paper, but they've performed on the rubber. So, any final thoughts, Steve? Hockey, football, basketball. Knicks up 2-1. We didn't touch upon that. Knicks up 2-1. Looking to take a commanding lead on Sunday against Detroit. But anything on your mind?
Well, you mentioned Alonso. People forget he started off 3 for 17 with a homer in his first 5 games, and obviously 5 games is
I didn't even know that.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so he really is heated up after a slow start for him, and he's taken over the team. You mentioned Miguel. I said I saw him in spring training. He was throwing in the high 90s. He looked like a lot more movement on his ball, and he certainly has panned out so far with that ERA. And all the Mets starters. Peterson's a big dude. Reminds me a little bit of Sid Fernandez in the old days. He's going to give you 5, maybe 5 and a third. Throw the ball hard. Got a nice slider. Canning impresses me. He's got guts out there. He's not afraid to pitch in big spots. Clay Holmes is making the Yankee GM look stupid. He's been giving the Mets everything they could expect for him at a starting role, a new role for him. So it reminds me of a couple of different Met teams throughout the years where they've relied on pitching, but they have the offense to back it up now. And a lot of those other years, they never had the offense. It's just a matter of time. Hey, any thoughts on Brett Beatty being sent down? I know he's swinging the bat well of late, but he doesn't have great numbers, obviously, over the year. He's got, I think, 19 whiffs and 51 at bats, or some 54 at bats. 204 average. But I feel bad for the guy because he has been swinging the bat well lately, but doesn't seem to be able to put it together so far.
I mean, I definitely think it's unfortunate. He's the unsung hero of the game. I was with my pops on Wednesday at that huge 2-run homer. We don't get into extras without it. So
Yeah, off of one of the best pitchers in the league too.
100%. I think it's very interesting because Vientos came up last year when the Mets weren't playing too good at a walk-off homer in extra innings against St. Louis. Got sent down the next day, came up and never went back down. I mean, I know it's a little bit of superstition and hope, but definitely, I thought Zokar and Sanger were the odd guys out. If Zokar stays up, he didn't have any options left, so basically outright waivers. He would have gotten scooped up. He's hitting a good bat for New York so far in a limited sample size. But Bay's got options, so can't send down Acuna. Way too versatile. Could run, ban over almost 300. So
Pretty much a numbers game where he had to be the guy to go down.
100%. So with that being said, Mets Yankees both in action tonight. No New York hockey teams in the playoffs. Devils though in action. Mets, Giants, and Jets both making their first overall selections. Or the Giants made two first round selections. And on the diamond, the Mets and Yankees back in action just in a few hours. So we'll be back next week for episode 51 at that point of the Rosen Report. AJ Rosen, Steve Shanamanico haven't commented on the shirt, really disliked it all show.
I
But
I was going to mention it starting out. I don't want any hate mail. This is my 1980s Dale Murphy, who was my favorite player. Dale Murphy. It's not a Chipper Jones or any of your hated Brave guys. So I was waiting for some comment out of you. You waited till 12:40 to come at me, which is nice of you, pal.
thanks.
This is nothing to do with the today's Brave, and you can see by the script across the top. This is Dale Murphy, early '80s Braves.
And with that being said, episode 49 Rosen Report will be back next week. We'll see you then. Thank you.